No one has the balls to stand up like I'm doing right now. Stop the crap already. We're all Americans. We're all equal. I don't see black. I don't see Asian. I don't see anything but American. Welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Thank you for listening. Please spread the word. You know why I love doing this podcast? Because I'm able to say what I want. There's no political correctness here, and I want to just do one thing. I want to tell you the truth about what's happening around the world, what's happening locally, what's happening all over the place in politics and everything else. First, we're going to start off about what's been going on over in Israel, and I'm really happy to hear about this guy. I won't even say his first name. His name is Sinwar. Sinwar now sleeps with the fish. He took the friggin' pipe. You know what taking a pipe means? That there was no more Sinwar. He was up there having a glorious time, eating and drinking, lots of money, cologne, happy days are here again, until that tank shell came in there. I think it blew his arm off, and he was sitting there. He had his skull looked like somebody hit it with a Louisville slugger, took out half his skull. Bye-bye, Sinwar. Ugh. All I know is one thing. He wanted no peace. He wanted to continue the death of these poor Palestinian people. These are the innocent people. And people like Sinwar are the ones that continue this fight and this battle. And all the innocent people there, all the innocent Palestinians are dying because of scumbags like Sinwar who are there. All they want is war. He does not want peace. And I'm going to tell you right now, they said this could mark the end of the war. It's not going to end this because there's a lot of other ones there. And until we exterminate these little people that want to cause problems and cause war, and you know what? Every time I think about it, all these Hamas guys, I think there were 5 of them. I think we took a few of them out. They're all billionaires. They're living in Qatar, sucking on hookers and everything else over there in Qatar, drinking booze. Yeah, they're very religious. They're over there drinking. And you know what? The people of Palestine, the innocent people, have been led down the road. And they stole all this money from the Palestinian people. That money was supposed to be there to help people, food, lodging, building homes and all that. But no, there's something over $8 billion unaccounted for that these scumbags are in Qatar, are living the life of Riley, and people are dying. I feel sorry for the people of Palestine, the peaceful people that want to live in peace. But when you got garbage like Sinwar and these other scumbags, that's what happens, all right? Now, also, we got a confirmation from the IDF, the Israeli military. This guy, Hasham Shefadin, I can't even pronounce these names. I really don't care. But this was another boss of the Hamas there. He took the pipe. He was killed in an attack in Beirut. This was one of the guys that were over there with that Hezbollah crap. You got Hezbollah, you got Hamas. Hezbollah's on the north, Hamas is on the south. All I know is one thing. I really fear for all the innocent people that are dying because of these warmongers, piece of garbage that don't want peace. And here we got more. His whole strategy, Sinwar, was war and don't make peace. And he, all of a sudden, he was rejecting every kind of peace proposal by Israel. He could have stopped this violence a long time ago. Nope. He wanted to keep it going. He wanted the civilian hostages. He's the one that orchestrated kidnapping hostages during that when they invaded Israel in October a year ago. He was the one. Let's take the hostage, raping girls, putting kids into ovens, infants into ovens, killing and mutilating people. This was Sinwar's plan. Sinwar's plan. And you know what? On top of it, he knew he had to have hostages, so he wanted to negotiate. But he never wanted peace. He wanted war. And more civilian deaths are what he wants. He wanted the world to turn against Israel. But all Israel was doing was responding to that horrific attack a year ago. And that's what it's all about. And on top of it, we know one thing, and back in this whole mess is the country of Iran, the country of Iran, with all these mullah gullahs, whatever the hell their names are, mullah gullah guy, mullah gullah, and the poor people of Iran, very nice people in Iran, good people in Iran, have to live under this constant threat of being kidnapped, beaten, and murdered if you don't agree with the mullah doulas and all these idiots that are running with Iran. You know what? I hope one thing. I hope that Donald Trump wins, because if Donald Trump wins, I think this is going to change in the Middle East. I think he's going to do something where we can now have the people. Again, I keep feeling the pain of the Palestinians and also the Lebanese people that are the innocent victims. And we can't throw that under the rug. Now, all of a sudden, the Israeli IDF arrested so let me see, there was 7 spies linked to all kinds of information that was going back and forth to Iran, and all this hundreds of thousands of dollars were seen through bank accounts where they were passing it through for these spies that were in Israel now, and they ended up locking them all up. And all of a sudden now, this big leak of information that the Israelis were going to start hitting into Iran, and all of a sudden, before it happens, it was leaked out. People don't understand. There's 4 or 5 countries that are privy to this confidential, top secret stuff. Could it have been leaked there? I don't know about that. Or could it be the Department of Defense, our Department of Defense? And we call this very unacceptable. So they were giving the heads up to Iran of what the plan of attack was going to be. This is horrible. This is such a brief breach. And the NSA, we have the National Security Agency, they're investigating it now. And it really undermines our relationship with Israel, because Israel's saying to himself, we can't tell America anything. Everything we tell America, we're giving the Iranians a heads up what they're going to do. It's disgusting. And that other punk, that Secretary of State, that other stumbling butt boy there, the guy who's the Secretary of State, who should be the secretary of the cart downstairs that's selling falafels down there. Blinken, a real total zero. I want to know, Blinken, you're the Secretary of State. How the hell does this secret information get out? I want to know. And you know what? We're going to find out that it came from someone from within our own government. And it's horrible. And it's a very dangerous position. You know what? We don't know what's going to happen now with Iran. We know one thing. They're very close to these nuclear weapons. And I'm going to tell you, when they get it, there's nothing to stop them from utilizing one of those nuclear weapons and I said it on my other podcast, they're going to use it on Israel, and they certainly will want to use it one place where I'm sitting right now in beautiful New York. That would be there. If they got 2 bombs, one will go to New York and the other one will go to Israel. That was what they're going to be doing. And now, the secret Hamas Iranian documents that were just uncovered about the attack on October 7th. These were being the alliance of Hamas and Iran goes back 30 years ago, and all these secret documents now were found. And inside the secret documents, it talked about how the rise of Hamas was started and all that. He actually had a guy, and I'm not going to pronounce his name because his name, I can't pronounce it, and I don't want to pronounce it. His last name was Marzouk. He got a green card in 1990. He settled in Virginia, believe it or not. Eventually, he was arrested in the U.S. in the 90s for his leadership role in Hamas, and this was one of their leaders there. And this whole alliance between Iran and Hamas was built 30 years ago is when it started. So this is what's going on in the Middle East. So let's jump to a little bit of what's going on in our country right now with the illegal migrants. Chicago, let's take Chicago all of a sudden. 18,000 people are fleeing because of the unsafe conditions that are being brought about by these migrants, mostly with the migrant criminal aspect of the migrants. And that's what's happening. And this is the border crisis in full-fledged. In Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson, new shelter rules now. First of all, they wanted them. Now they got new shelter rules. They told them you can only stay in the shelters 30 days or less. After 30 days, you know what they do with them? They throw them on the street. And how are they going to make a living? Robbing you, robbing me. That's what happens. And this is what we have. We have millions of illegal migrants that have no jobs, and they have the criminal element. We keep going back. And what are they going to do to feed their family? What happens? They get forced into a life of crime. And who is the criminals going to feed upon? The American citizens. And now we're talking about the crisis. The border patrol there letting us know there's Tapalucha, Mexico, over there. There's 2,000 migrants that are racing in, and they're giving all kinds of negative, false reports about the migrants. San Diego County's border patrol supervisor called it a blatant attempt by the White House to protect images before the election. So they're lying. They're lying about what's going on, who's coming through the border, and they just giving all kinds of fugazi numbers of who's coming in and who's on the borders and who's not coming in. It's horrible what we have to get. Lies from this current administration. And now, something new is happening. We're going to jump back to Ukraine. Sorry, we're from the United States. We're jumping back to Ukraine because this is a very important thing. All of a sudden now, we find out there's 11,000 North Korean troops that are in Russia. And now they're putting up, they got the soldiers all lined up. They're giving them uniforms, clothes, and everything. So they're going to be using these North Korean scumbags now to help the Russians. You know why? They ain't got enough of Russian soldiers. The Ukrainians been kicking their asses, and the Ukrainians, this little country, took on this big, bad Putin, and they're kicking their ass. Now they need the North Korean rice-eating guys over there to start to help them. Now they need them. That's what they need, and that's the news over there. Now, some more stuff in our country. Abercrombie and Fitch there, the clothing thing. Here's another. I mean, what's up with these sexual scandals? Every day I pick up the paper. Someone else is pounding somebody else. Some guy sucking on some poor young boy. Now this punk CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, Mike Jeffries, was just locked up with his other recruiter, James Jacobson. They were taking young men, making believe they were going to make them models, and they were using their sexual attacks upon these young men who were going there to try to get a job there. And these scumbags were now preying on these young, handsome young men and boys. Horrible, 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 horrible. And now we keep going back to the story just keeps going on and on. Matter of fact, I had dinner the other night with Stephen Baldwin. You know, Stephen Baldwin played me in One Tough Cop. So we were talking about it. His daughter, Haley Baldwin, beautiful young lady. Who she married to? Bieber, the guy Bieber. Justin Bieber. And we were talking about it, and some of the videos where he was with Puff Daddy there, he seemed like he was stoned out of his mind, and now we know he was stoned out of his mind. What this diddly-do was doing to everybody. Now, I'm not a violent man, but I really believe if half of these things are true about Puff Daddy that I know, that scumbag should go for the execution. I could fry him tomorrow. You want to put me in charge? Put me in charge. Let's convict him and let's fry him. As far as I'm concerned, he destroyed so many lives. Now his life should be destroyed. Puff Daddy, you're a punk. You are always a punk. Oh my gosh. Now let's go to something else happening here in New York City. My friend, Mayor Rudy Giuliani. This one really begs me. Now, supposedly, he made comments about the election in Georgia. About the election workers, 2 females down there, and he made some statements. He accused them of manipulating ballots. Okay, he said that they manipulated ballots for whatever reason. So they didn't even have a trial, but they were found in default. And listen to this one. I don't know, you people make a lot of money, but they were found $148 million on defamation verdict for these 2 women that were making $38 a day being election people. Now they got 140. Now it gets better. Now the judge made a move. I'm laughing because it's so crazy. The judge made a move to take Rudy's apartment, take his car, take his Super Bowl rings, take everything. And these women all of a sudden they were hurt so bad. $148 million. You're a psycho, Judge. If you could find someone guilty of this garbage and put a fine of $148 million, you're a psychopath, Judge. And if I came down there into your county, I'd call you a psychopath to your face. $148 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And I'm going to tell you something. Poor Rudy there, talking about taking beatings. This was America's greatest mayor. I loved Rudy, what he did in New York. He went after a lot of my Italian friends, too, that I didn't like. I didn't like some of the things my friend Rudy did. He really preyed upon Italian people a lot. And I didn't like that. But he also did a good job cleaning up the city. And Rudy's my friend. I have a lot of respect. Boy, he's taking the pipe now. He's getting beat up right and left, and it's over and over and over and over. Then all of a sudden in my Nassau County, you have this woman running for Congress, Laura Gillen. All of a sudden, they brought the House Minority Leader, that other jerk-off, Hakeem Jeffries from Brooklyn. If they win Congress, he'll be the Speaker of the United States Congress. He's over there. They did a fundraiser over there, and they made believe it was a non-political event. It was a Democratic political event paid for by the county of Nassau County, and now they're looking into that. Horrible. And now we got this really, really, really serious case going on. They're picking a jury as we wait right now. You had a young Marine that was on the train. And this Jordan Neely character was held into a headlock chokehold. Danny Penny was a decorated United States Marine who was on a subway train. And there were other people, including a black male that was involved also. And this guy was yelling and screaming, he's going to kill everybody. And then Daniel Penny, trying to protect the people on that train, grabbed him into a headlock, which turned into a chokehold. And we don't want to see anybody die. He was an accidental death. That's what happened. He was just trying to restrain him. And now this idiot DA, Fat Bragg, there all of a sudden, he indicted him on manslaughter. Like Daniel Perry did something wrong. He did nothing wrong. If anything, our mayor should have given him the key to New York City for protecting subway riders. I wish that Daniel Penny's on the train. If my daughter and my son or any of my family are traveling, I'd love a Daniel Penny to be on that train to protect them against these scumbag predators that are all over, pushing people in front of trains, robbing people. Daniel Perry is an American hero, and this trial is a travesty. And you know, this is one of the reasons why people want to leave New York City, for garbage like this. And this Bragg, if he had a set of balls, you would dismiss this case, look at the evidence, and be a man, Bragg. Stand up and be a man. I don't know if you got a man in you, but this thing is such an unbelievable case, and that's what they're doing right now. They're trying this United States Marine on this crap. Oh, I got these notes because I got to keep these notes going because there's so many important issues here. Even my friend, the great Ray Kelly, former United States Marine Colonel, retired, great guy, one of our best commissioners we ever had. He was talking about these gangs, these Venezuelan, and I can't pronounce the name. Tring Diaga Uga Booga Duga. I don't know how to say it, but these gangs out of Argentina, criminal gangs. They got the tattoos going. You could tell them from far away, and all they're doing is causing robberies in our shelters. Does people know when there's a crime in the shelter, the police can't go in there. The police can't do nothing. These guys, it's a game out there. They got these gangs that are running the shelters. These gangs send young kids out there to rob and bring back the proceeds to the shelter. This is an organized crime thing right underneath there. Hey, Mr. Mayor, my friend, 30 years, Mr. Mayor, you're not dealing with what's going on. Find your balls, Mr. Mayor, and let's get on top of these Venezuelan gangs. And also, Mr. Mayor, you're the mayor. Put an executive order. Any illegal person who's in this country illegal, committing crimes, turn it over to ICE. Tell city council, back off. I'm the mayor, and I'm going to do it. Eric, stand up for what's right, okay? People elected you to be our mayor because of public safety and crime. Crime is prevalent everywhere. Now the shelters are it's where Fest is. Now they're robbery. They're sending young kids out with these gangs, especially these Venezuelan gangs. And it goes on and on. 24-year-old man, 22-year-old woman arrested for sex trafficking these young girls from Venezuela and from all over the place. And on top of it, here's a good one. This guy named Enrique Blanco. Let's just call him Bert Blanco, because I can't pronounce your first name, and I don't give a crap about your first name. We'll call you Bert Blanco. Here, 27-year-old gang member, right? All of a sudden, he's been slipping through the cracks. Yeah. He first got caught illegal going into Texas back in May of 2023, and he was ordered to be deported. But instead, you know what he did? He ended up in a holding center in Elizabeth, New Jersey, only to be freed a month later. Then things got worse. Blanco was arrested in the Bronx for attempted murder after opening fire on a man. And guess what? He was released without bail. Here we go there, state senators and also state assembly people, the scarf lady in the Senate, and that little munchkin, that little midget head of the New York State Assembly. Here we go. And also the city council. He was released. Attempted murder illegally in this country. Then you go 2 weeks forward. Drug possession in Miami again. And last week, he was picked up for sex trafficking a 15-year-old little New York City runaway girl. Now Blanco, scumbag Blanco, is being held by Florida authorities. Man, it doesn't get any worse. I'm glad that I'm able to talk freely like this. And then all of a sudden, over there in the old 110 precinct, when I first started back in 1970, they got this thing now. They have these sex workers now. They walk along the street with hot pants on and all that. And now they call it the market of sweethearts. And all of a sudden now what they're doing is they're demonstrating that they should be allowed to sell their wares and have prostitution legalized. And with prostitution comes also stolen property and the criminal. Well, you know what? We got everything else is free. Let's make prostitution legal in New York City, Mr. Mayor. You lost everything else in this city. Why don't you just make that legal? Again, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to talk to you, Eric. We haven't talked in a while. And I'm directing this to you. Find your ball bag, Mr. Mayor. You got elected. Public safety and security for our people and against crime. You've got a cancer festering in your shelters with these gangs, especially these Venezuelan gangs. You got people going out, robbing people, bringing back the stolen goods. We have an organized crime. If they were Italian, you would be out there going after. No, Mr. Mayor, find your ball bag and let's go after these gangs and let's get them to ICE and let's get them the hell out of our city so we can win our city back, Mr. Mayor. I'm calling upon you. I'm sorry I get so upset, everybody, but this really, really aggravates me. And I supported this mayor. I support him, and I don't like what's going on. And you want to know something? He can make believe that he doesn't know this is happening. Oh, perception. Mr. Mayor, this ain't friggin' perception. This is real. Now, please tell people about my podcast, and hopefully I'll be back next week. And I want you to please tell people you tune into Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube, all these things. Look me up. Tell your friends. Hear the truth. Bo Dietl will tell you the truth. One tough cop ain't backing away. I ain't moving to Florida. I'm standing and I'm fighting. You know what I'm fighting for? I'm fighting for you, the people of this great city, the greatest city in the world. God bless everybody and good health to everybody. Thank you.